Ji-won Park stood in the massive chamber and felt very small. The walls around her stretched up so high that she could not see the ceiling. Strange lights moved in patterns across the crystal walls, and the air hummed with alien technology. This was the Galactic Council, the place where 12 different species made decisions for the entire galaxy. She wore her best uniform, the dark blue one with gold stripes that showed she spoke for all of Earth. Her hands did not shake, even though her heart was beating fast. Behind her stood 3 other humans who had traveled across the stars to get here. They all knew this moment would change everything. Sung-ho Kim watched from the viewing area above. He was Earth's military advisor, and his job was to think about war and peace. His dark eyes moved from one alien council member to another. He had studied each species for months, learning their history and their ways of thinking. None of what he learned made him feel good about today. The council members sat on platforms that floated in the air. Each platform was different, made for a different type of alien body. Some of the aliens looked almost human, but with strange skin colors or extra arms. Others looked nothing like humans at all. The first to speak was a Vorthak. These aliens were tall and thin, with gray skin that looked like stone. Their leader, Kethmore, looked down at Ji-won like she was an insect. "We have watched your species for 50 years, Kethmore said. His voice was cold and flat. You make war over water. You make war over land. You make war over ideas. You even make war over the color of your skin. Why should we let such violent creatures into our peaceful galaxy?" Ji-won took a deep breath. She had practiced her answer many times. "We make war, yes, but we also make peace. We learn from our mistakes. We are not the same species we were 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago." A sound like music came from the luminary platform. These aliens were made of light and energy, and they spoke in sounds that were beautiful but hard to understand. Their representative, Sil-Andra, glowed brighter as she spoke. "Your species is chaos," Sil-Andra said. "You change too fast. You think in ways that make no sense. How can we trust beings who cannot even agree among themselves about simple things?" "Our differences make us strong," Ji-won replied. "We see problems in ways you might not think of. We can adapt quickly when things change." But the council members were not listening with open minds. Sung-ho could see it in their body language. They had already decided before Ji-won even spoke. The Nexali representative was next. These aliens looked like large cats that walked on 2 legs. Their leader, Vordan, showed his sharp teeth when he spoke. "Adaptation?" Vordan laughed, a sound like a growl. "You cannot even take care of your own planet. Your oceans are dirty. Your air is poisoned. You cut down your forests. Why should we let you do the same thing to other worlds?" Dr. Min-hee Choi, standing behind Ji-won, felt anger rise in her chest. She was Earth's chief scientist, and she knew how hard humans had worked to fix their planet. But she stayed quiet. This was Ji-won's moment to speak. "We have made mistakes," Ji-won said, "but we learned from them. Our planet is healing now. Our air is cleaner than it was 50 years ago. Our forests are growing back. We can teach other species how to fix damage to their worlds." The Krillian representative made a sound like clicking stones. These aliens were covered in hard shells and had many arms. "Teach us?" Krythek clicked. "We have traveled the stars for 10,000 years. What can children like you teach us?" More council members spoke. Each one found a different reason why humans should not join their group. The Zephyrians said humans were too young as a species. The Ashanti said humans were too aggressive. The Mordani said humans were too unpredictable. Ji-won answered each criticism with facts and examples. She talked about human art and music. She talked about human science and medicine. She talked about how humans had stopped fighting among themselves to work together for this moment, but she could see in their alien faces that nothing she said mattered. They had made their choice long ago. Finally, the Council Prime stood up. Thalnex was ancient, even by alien standards. His species, the Eternal Ones, lived for thousands of years. His body looked like it was made of silver metal, and his eyes glowed blue. "The Galactic Council has heard Earth's request," Thalnex said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "We have considered your arguments. We have studied your species and your history." The chamber became completely quiet. Even the humming of the alien technology seemed to stop. "The answer is no." Ji-won felt the words hit her like a physical blow. Behind her, she heard Sung-ho take a sharp breath. "Furthermore," Thalnex continued, "humanity is forbidden from leaving your solar system. A containment field will be placed around your star. Any human ship that tries to leave will be stopped and destroyed." "You cannot do this," Ji-won said, her voice stronger than she felt. "We have rights. We have done nothing wrong." "You have the right to stay in your system," Thalnex replied. "Nothing more. The galaxy is not ready for your chaos. Perhaps in 1,000 years, your species will grow up enough to join civilized space." The other council members nodded their agreement. Some of them looked pleased. Others looked like they felt sorry for the humans, but not sorry enough to change their votes. Ji-won looked around the chamber one more time. She saw the floating platforms, the alien technology, the beings who thought they were better than humanity. She thought about Earth, about the billions of people who had hoped for this day. "Very well," she said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. "You have made your choice, but remember this moment. Remember it well, because someday you will need us. Someday you will face something that your ancient wisdom and advanced technology cannot handle. And when that day comes, remember that you chose to make us your enemy instead of your friend." The chamber erupted in angry sounds. From the alien council members, some of them shouted insults in their own languages. Others demanded that the humans be arrested for threatening the council. But Thalnex raised a silver hand for silence. "Empty words from a primitive species," he said. "Guards, escort the humans to their ship." As alien guards surrounded them, Ji-won walked with her head high. Behind her, Dr. Min-hee Choi quietly activated a small device hidden in her coat. Every word spoken in the chamber was now being recorded and sent back to Earth. The galaxy had rejected humanity, but humanity would remember everything. 38 years had passed since the Council's rejection. The galaxy believed humans were trapped in their solar system like animals in a cage. They were wrong. Admiral Kyung-tae Lee stood on the bridge of the hidden space station called New Seoul. Through the large windows, he could see 3 human colonies spread across different planets in the Kepler system. The colonies were beautiful, with silver cities that sparkled under the light of twin suns. Ships moved between the planets like busy insects. This was humanity's greatest secret. While the Council thought they had humans locked away, people from Earth had been spreading across the galaxy for decades. They moved in the shadows, always careful, always watching. "Admiral," called Captain Won-ho Park from his station. He was Ji-won Park's son, and he had inherited his mother's strong will. "The scouts report that the Vega colony is ready for its first harvest. 15 million people are now living there." Kyung-tae smiled. 15 million people on a world the Council did not even know existed. "And the Council patrols?" "Still following the same routes they used 20 years ago," Won-ho replied. "They never change their patterns. It makes avoiding them very easy." In another part of the station, engineer Yoona Song was working on humanity's greatest achievement. The quantum tunneling drive had been her idea, built from stolen alien technology and human creativity. The drive let human ships move through space in ways that alien sensors could not detect. Yuna's hands moved quickly over the control panel as she tested the new engine design. The machine hummed with power, bending space around itself. To alien, I's ships using this drive simply vanished and reappeared somewhere else. The new drives are ready for mass production, she told her assistant. We can build 50 ships a month now, maybe more. Each ship was a masterpiece of hidden engineering. They looked like simple cargo vessels from the outside, but inside they carried weapons and technology that would surprise any alien who saw them in action. General Hyunwoo Nam was in the military section of the station, training the next group of human soldiers. But these were not ordinary soldiers. They were learning to fight in ways that no alien species would expect. Forget everything you know about space battles, Hyunwoo told the young recruits. The aliens fight like this is some kind of game with rules. They line up their ships in neat rows. They announce their attacks before they make them. They even stop fighting to talk sometimes. The recruits laughed, but Hyunwoo's face was serious. We do not fight like that. We hit fast and disappear. We attack where they are weakest. We make them afraid of shadows and empty space. By the time they understand what is happening, the battle is already over. Human military doctrine was built on one simple idea: never fight fair. While alien species preferred big ships with powerful weapons, humans built small, fast ships that could strike and run away. While aliens announced their presence with pride, humans remained invisible until it was too late for their enemies to respond. In the science labs, Dr. So-Young Jong was working on something that would change everything. She had been studying parallel space for 15 years, trying to understand dimensions that existed alongside normal space. Most alien scientists thought it was impossible to use parallel space for travel. The breakthrough came when I stopped thinking like them, So-Young explained to her research team. Aliens see space as something solid, something that cannot be changed. But space is more like water. You can move through it, around it, even step outside of it completely. Her research had led to the development of dimensional jumping. Human fleets could now move instantly from one star system to another, thousands of light years in a single step. No alien species had ever achieved anything like it. The hidden colonies were not just places for humans to live. They were fortresses, each one built to defend itself and strike back at enemies. Every colony had weapons that could destroy entire alien fleets. Every colony had factories that could build more ships, more weapons, more tools of war. On the mining world of New Busan, humans had built cities inside mountains. From space, the planet looked empty and worthless. But deep underground, millions of people worked to extract rare metals and crystals that powered human technology. On the ocean world of New Jeju, humans had built floating cities that moved with the currents. Alien sensors could not tell the difference between the cities and natural formations on the planet's surface. The agricultural world of New Jeonju produced food for 50 other human colonies. Its farms were hidden under artificial clouds that made the planet look uninhabitable from orbit. Every few months, alien council patrols would detect strange energy readings in various star systems. The aliens would investigate, but they always found nothing. The energy readings were dismissed as natural phenomena or equipment failures. The council never suspected that those energy readings were human ships engaging in battles with pirates, or testing new weapons, or simply moving between colonies. Human stealth technology was so advanced that even when aliens looked directly at human ships, they often could not see them. Captain Minho Seo commanded one of the scout ships that watched Council space. His job was to listen to alien communications and report any threats to human colonies. He had been doing this work for 8 years, and he knew more about Council politics than most Council members did. The Vorthak and Luminari are arguing again, he reported to Admiral Kyungtae during their weekly meeting. Something about mining rights in the Altair system. The Nexali are staying out of it, but they are moving more ships toward their border, worlds. Any mention of the energy anomalies? The Admiral asked. The same as always. They think it is natural space phenomena. The Council's Science Division released a report last month saying the anomalies are caused by solar flares from old stars. Kyungtae laughed. Solar flares from old stars. If only they knew the truth. The truth was that humanity had become the most powerful force in the galaxy without anyone knowing it existed. Human colonies outnumbered Council worlds 3-1. Human ships were faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything the aliens had built. Human soldiers were trained for types of warfare that alien species had never imagined. But the most important truth was this: humans had learned patience. They could wait, hidden in the shadows, growing stronger every day. They could watch their enemies make mistakes and learn from them. They could prepare for the day when the galaxy would need them. That day was coming sooner than anyone expected. The warning came too late. Commander Velthak of the Vorthak mining station, Kara 7, was drinking his morning nutrition liquid when the alarm started screaming. Through his office window, he could see the 3 moons of the system hanging peacefully. In space, everything looked normal. "Commander," his communications officer called out, panic clear in her voice. "We are detecting massive energy signatures at the edge of the system. Something big is coming." Velthak put down his drink and walked quickly to the command center. On the main screen, he could see dots of light moving toward them. The dots were growing larger very fast. "What are they?" he asked. "Unknown, sir. The ships do not match any. Design in our database. They are not responding to our communication attempts." Velthak felt cold fear in his stomach. In 300 years of space travel, the Vorthak had never encountered unknown ships. Every species in the galaxy was catalogued and known. "Send a message to Council Command," he ordered. "Tell them we need help." But there was no time for help to arrive. The unknown ships were not ships at all. They were something much worse. Each one was the size of a small moon, covered in metal plates that moved and shifted like living skin. Strange lights pulsed along, their surface in patterns that hurt to look at. These were the devourer swarms, and they had been sleeping in the empty space between galaxies for thousands of years. Now they were awake and hungry. The first devourer ship reached the mining station without slowing down. It did not fire weapons. Instead, it opened like a flower, revealing a mouth filled with spinning metal teeth the size of buildings. The station disappeared into the mouth in seconds. Commander Velthak had just enough time to scream before everything went dark. 3 billion Vorthak lived on the planets and stations of the Kara system. Within 6 hours, they were all dead. The devourer ships consumed everything: the planets, the moons, the space stations, even the asteroids. They broke everything down into pure energy and stored it in massive tanks inside their hulls. When they were finished, the Kara system was empty except for the star itself. Even that was dimmer than before, as the devourers had somehow drained part of its energy. The news reached the Council chambers on Nexus Station 3 days later. Council Prime Zethmore, who had replaced the ancient Thalnex 2 years earlier, called an emergency meeting. "This cannot be real," said Councillor Irendi of the Luminari. Her light body flickered with fear. "The Karas system had 12 billion people. They cannot all be gone." "The probe data is clear," replied Councillor Kethnar of the Vorthak. His gray face was darker than usual, showing deep grief. "Nothing remains. No planets, no stations, no survivors. Only empty space." The council chamber fell silent as the members tried to understand what they were hearing. In 10,000 years of galactic civilization, nothing like this had ever happened. "What do we know about these attackers?" asked Zethmore. "Very little," admitted Councillor Mordak of the Nexali. "Our ancestors have legends of something called the Devourer Swarms, but we thought they were just stories." Dr. Silfek, the Council's chief historian, activated a holographic display. Ancient symbols and images appeared in the air above the council table. "The legends speak of machines that eat worlds," she said. "They come from the void between galaxies when they grow hungry. Every few million years they wake up and consume entire civilizations before going back to sleep. Legends, scoffed Counselor Zartek of the Krillians. We need facts, not old stories. But the facts came quickly. 2 days later, another system fell. The Luminari colony of Bright Haven simply vanished overnight. 5 billion beings of pure energy were consumed like drops of water. The devourer swarms did not fight like any known species. They did not declare war or make demands. They did not try to conquer territory or capture prisoners. They simply arrived, ate everything they could find, and moved on to the next system. The Council's first response was to send diplomats. The Luminari were famous throughout the galaxy for their ability to communicate with any species, no matter how different. They sent their best negotiators to make contact with the Devourers. The diplomatic ship reached the swarm fleet near the ruins of the Karis system. The Luminari diplomats tried every form of communication they knew. They sent radio signals, light patterns, mathematical sequences, even telepathic messages. The Devourers responded by eating the diplomatic ship. The Council's second response was to run away. The Nexali were the fastest species in the galaxy. Famous for their ability to outrun any threat, they sent their swiftest ships to evacuate civilians from systems in the swarm's path. The evacuation ships were faster than anything the Council had ever built before. They could cross entire star systems in minutes, but the Devourers were faster. They caught every evacuation ship and consumed them all. Captain Wanho Park watched the disaster unfold from his hidden listening post in the Vega system. The post was disguised as an asteroid, and alien sensors could not detect it. But from inside, human technology could intercept every Council communication. "Admiral," he reported to Kyungtae Lee over the secret communication link. "The Council is in complete panic. They have lost 4 more systems in the last week. Their military commanders are talking about retreat to the core worlds." "What about their defenses?" asked the Admiral. "Traditional tactics." "They are trying to fight the swarms the same way they fight each other. Battle lines, formal challenges, honor duels, it is not working." Wanho watched his screens as another Council fleet engaged the Devourers near the Altair system. The alien ships formed perfect battle lines, just as they had been taught in their military academies for thousands of years. They fired their weapons in coordinated volleys, following strategies that had won wars for centuries. The Devourers ignored the battle lines completely. They scattered in all directions, attacking from every angle at once. Some Devourer ships flew straight through the middle of the Council formation, consuming ships as they passed. Others attacked from above and below, directions that the aliens had not thought to defend. Within an hour, the entire Council fleet was gone. The Devourers had not lost a single ship. "They adapt too quickly," reported Council Admiral Tixmore in his final message before his flagship was consumed. "Every strategy we try, they counter within minutes. It is like they can read our minds." The truth was simpler and more terrifying. The Devourers had been fighting and consuming civilizations for millions of years. They had seen every possible military strategy, every type of weapon, every form of defense. Nothing the Council could do was new to them. As the weeks passed, the situation grew worse. Refugee ships fled from system to system, always staying just ahead of the advancing swarms. Entire species abandoned their homeworlds, carrying only what they could fit in cargo holds. The Council tried everything they could think of. They built bigger weapons. The Devourers adapted to them. They tried sneak attacks. The swarms detected them easily. They attempted to hide entire fleets. The Devourers found them anyway. 47 star systems fell in 18 months. Half of Council space was gone, consumed by an enemy that could not be reasoned with, could not be defeated, and could not be stopped. In the emergency bunker beneath Nexus Station, Council Prime Zethmore stared at the map that showed how much territory they had lost. Red zones marked the dead systems, and the red was spreading like a disease. "We need a miracle," he said quietly to his advisors. What he did not know was that the miracle had been waiting in the shadows for 38 years, growing stronger every day. The first clue came from a Nexali scout ship fleeing the destroyed Rigel system. Captain Zixara was running her engines at maximum power, trying to stay ahead of 3 Devourer ships that had been chasing her for 6 hours. Her ship was damaged and losing fuel, but she could not stop or slow down. Behind her, the mechanical monsters were getting closer. Suddenly, her sensors detected something impossible. Energy readings were appearing all around her ship, but she could not see anything. The readings showed ships, lots of them, but her. Visual scanners showed only empty space. Then the attacks began. Weapons fire came from nowhere, striking the Devourer ships with incredible accuracy. The shots did not come from any direction that made sense. Some seemed to appear from parallel space, hitting the Devourers from angles that should not exist. One Devourer ship exploded, then another. The third one tried to run, but more invisible. Weapons found it and tore it apart. Zixara stared at her screens in shock. Someone had just saved her life, but she had no idea who. "Unknown vessels," she broadcast on all frequencies. "Thank you for your help. Please identify yourselves." The response came in perfect Nexali language, but with an accent she did not recognize. "This is Commander Taehyun Ko. You are safe now, Captain. Return to your people and tell them what you saw here." "Commander Ko? What species are you?" "I cannot see your ships on any scanner." There was silence for a moment, then, "We are human." Zixara felt her blood turn cold. Humans were supposed to be trapped in their home system. They were not supposed to exist outside of the Sol system, much less have advanced warships capable of defeating Devourer vessels. "That is impossible," she whispered. "Many things are impossible until they happen," came the reply. "Go now, Captain. Others need our help." The energy readings faded away as the mysterious human ships vanished back into whatever dimension they had come from. Zixara was alone again, but now she carried the most important news in galactic history. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was the most chaotic in its 10,000-year history. Representatives from every surviving species shouted at each other in dozens of languages. Some demanded proof of Captain Zixara's story. Others called her crazy or accused her of lying. But Counselor Veltar of the Nexali stood behind his captain. "Zixara is one of our best officers," he declared. "She has never lied in 40 years of service. If she says humans saved her life, then humans saved her life." "But humans cannot leave their solar system," protested Counselor Kethnar of the Vorthak. "We put containment fields around their star. Our sensors would detect any ship that tried to escape." Council Prime Zethmore called for order by hitting his staff against the floor. The chamber slowly grew quiet. "We need to investigate this claim," he said. "If humans have somehow escaped containment, we need to know how and why." The investigation began immediately. Council Intelligence Services reviewed 40 years of sensor data, looking for any sign of human activity outside the Sol system. What they found shocked them. The energy anomalies that had been detected throughout Council space for decades were not natural phenomena. They were evidence of human ships moving through areas where no ships should exist. Battle debris from unknown weapons. Electromagnetic signatures that did not match any known alien technology. Admiral Sohee Han intercepted every Council communication from her hidden command ship in the Proxima system. She listened as alien intelligence officers slowly realized the truth that humans had known for nearly 4 decades. "Sir," her communications officer reported, "the Council has discovered 17 of our hidden colonies. They know about the quantum tunneling drives. They know about our stealth technology." Sohee smiled grimly. "Let them know. It is time they understood who they are dealing with." The final proof came when Council scouts investigated the energy signatures more carefully. They found human colonies that should not exist, protected by defense systems more advanced than anything the Council had ever built. They found evidence of human ships engaging Devourer scouts in battles that the Council had never known about. Most shocking of all, they found wreckage from Devourer ships that had been destroyed by human weapons, in the deepest vaults beneath. Nexus Station, Council historians searched through the oldest records they could find. What they discovered changed everything they thought they knew about the war against the Devourers. The energy anomalies began appearing 8 years ago, reported Dr. Silfek to the Emergency Council session. That is exactly when the Devourer swarms first appeared at the edge of our galaxy. "What are you suggesting?" asked Zethmore. "The humans have been fighting the Devourers for 8 years. Every time we detected those anomalies, it was humans intercepting Devourer scouts before they could report back to the main fleet." The chamber fell completely silent as the implications sank in. For 8 years, while the Council had ignored humans as primitive and contained, those same humans had been protecting Council space without asking for anything in return. The debate that followed lasted for 3 days. Some Council members still refused to believe that humans had become so powerful. Others were angry that humans had violated the containment order. A few suggested attacking human colonies to force them back into their solar system. But Counselor Irindi of the Luminari finally spoke the truth that everyone was thinking. "We are losing this war," she said, her light body dim with exhaustion. 60 systems have fallen. Billions of our people are dead. Our fleets are destroyed. Our weapons are useless. If the humans have found a way to fight the Devourers successfully, we need their help." "Ask for help from the species we rejected," snarled Counselor Zartek of the Krillians. "Never. We have our pride." "Pride will not save us from being eaten," replied Irendi. "The Devourers do not care about our pride. They only care about consuming us." The vote was close. 6 species voted to contact Earth and ask for help. 5 species voted against it. 1 species abstained. It was enough. The message was sent on all frequencies, encrypted with the highest level Council codes. It was addressed to the government of Earth and transmitted directly to the Sol system. The message was simple. "This is the Galactic Council. We need your help." On Earth, President Ji-hoon Ryu received the message in his office in Seoul. He read it 3 times, then called an emergency meeting of his cabinet. Within an hour, the most powerful humans in the galaxy were gathered around a conference table, discussing the most important decision in human history. "They rejected us," said Defense Minister Yejin Bei, her voice hard with old anger. "They called us primitive. They locked us in our own solar system like animals. Why should we help them now?" "Because we are better than they are," replied Foreign Minister Do Yun Lim quietly. "We do not abandon people who need help, even if they have wronged us." President Ryu looked around the table at the faces of his advisors. Some showed anger. Some showed satisfaction at finally being proven right. A few showed concern about the dangers ahead. "The question is not whether we should help them," the president said finally. "The question is what price we should ask for our help." Outside the window, he could see the lights of Seoul stretching to the horizon. Somewhere above, those lights, hidden ships were already preparing to move. The galaxy had rejected humanity once. It would not get the chance to do so again. The response from Earth came faster than the Council expected. Within 12 hours of sending their desperate message, every Council member received a reply. It was not angry or mocking, as many had feared. It was simple and direct. "We will help," the message said. "These are our terms. Full recognition of humanity as equals in the Galactic Council. Immediate sharing of all alien technologies with human scientists. A permanent seat on the expanded council with equal voting rights. And one final condition. Humanity will lead the war effort against the Devourers." The last condition shocked everyone. Councillor Kethnar of the Vorthak was the first to protest. "Lead the war effort? They want us to give command of our fleets to a species we do not even know?" But Admiral Minha Kang's reply came quickly. You do not know us because you chose not to know us. But we know you. We have been watching you for 40 years. We know your strengths, your weaknesses, and your failures. More importantly, we have been fighting the Devourers successfully for 8 years. The proof came in the form of classified military data that appeared on every Council computer system simultaneously. Battle reports, tactical analyses, and damage. Assessments that show dozens of Devourer ships destroyed by human forces. The data was impossible to fake and impossible to ignore. How did you get into our secure systems? Demanded Zeth Moore. The same way we have been moving through your space. For decades, replied Admiral Minha. You see what we want you to see. You know what we want you to know. Your security is only as strong as we allow it to be. The Council had no choice. Within 3 days, they agreed to all human terms. The first joint meeting took place in neutral space, halfway between Earth and the Council's temporary headquarters on Refuge Station. General Do-Hyun Lim represented humanity, accompanied by a staff of military advisors who looked younger than most Council members had expected. Your species is very young, observed Councillor Yerendi of the Luminari. How can children lead experienced warriors? Age does not win battles, replied General Do-Hyun. Adaptation does. You have been fighting the same way for thousands of years. We learn something new from every fight. To prove his point, General Do-Hyun showed the Council something they had never seen before, a complete tactical analysis of every battle fought against the Devourers. Human observers had watched every engagement, recording how the aliens fought and how they died. You make the same mistakes over and over, he explained. You fight with honor when the enemy has no honor. You follow rules when the enemy follows none. You try to preserve your ships when you should be willing to sacrifice them for victory. The Council members bristled at the criticism, but they could not argue with the results. Human forces had destroyed 43 Devourer ships in 8 years of fighting. The combined Council fleets had destroyed exactly 0. The first joint operation was planned for the defense of the Centauri system, where 3 million refugees had gathered on the planet New Haven. Devourer scouts had been spotted at the edge of the system, and the main fleet was expected to arrive within days. Captain Yejin Bei commanded the joint fleet from her flagship, the Earth vessel Indomitable. Around her, Council ships took positions according to the new battle plan that combined human tactics with alien technology. Remember, she broadcast to all ships, we do not fight to look good. We do not fight to follow tradition. We fight to win. If that means running away to attack from behind, we run away. If that means sacrificing one ship to save 10 others, we make that sacrifice. The alien commanders were uncomfortable with these ideas, but they had agreed to follow human leadership. When the Devourer fleet arrived, it consisted of 12 massive ships, each one capable of consuming an entire planet. They moved in their usual pattern, spreading out to surround the system before beginning their feeding process. But this time, their prey fought back in ways they had never experienced. The joint fleet did not form battle lines. Instead, human ships appeared and disappeared using dimensional technology, striking from impossible angles before vanishing again. Alien ships equipped with human stealth systems attacked from directions the Devourers could not predict. Engineer Jamin O had spent months developing new weapons that combined human creativity with alien power sources. Vorthak energy cannons were modified to fire in rapid bursts instead of single shots. Luminari light weapons were focused into cutting beams that could slice through Devourer armor. Nexali speed drives were installed on Krillian defense platforms, creating mobile fortresses that could appear anywhere in the system. The battle lasted 18 hours. For the first time since the war began, Devourer ships were destroyed faster than they could adapt. 3 of the massive vessels were completely destroyed. The other 9 retreated to the edge of the system, something they had never done before. Impossible. whispered Counselor Veltar, watching from the command center on New Haven. They are running away. Not running, corrected General Do-hyun, who was monitoring the battle from his command ship. Learning. They will be back with new tactics, but now we know they can be beaten. The victory at Centauri changed everything. News spread throughout Council space that the Devourers could be defeated. Refugee fleets stopped running and started fighting back. Civilian populations that had given up hope began to believe in survival again. More importantly, the victory proved that humans and aliens could work together effectively. Human unpredictability combined with alien technology created possibilities that neither side could achieve alone. The war continued for another year, but it was no longer a retreat. Under human leadership, the joint fleets began pushing the Devourers back, system by system. Each battle taught new lessons. Each victory made the combined forces stronger. The final battle took place at Nexus Station itself, the heart of Council, civilization. The Devourers had massed their remaining forces for one last assault, hoping to consume the center of galactic government and end the war permanently. Admiral Kyungtae Lee, now 73 years old, personally commanded the defense fleet. Despite his age, he insisted on leading from the front, aboard his flagship positioned directly between the Devourers and Nexus Station. "This ends today," he announced to the combined fleet. One way or another, the final assault involved every remaining human ship and every surviving Council vessel. Using Dr. So-Young-jang's dimensional technology, the entire fleet appeared inside the enemy formation, emerging from parallel space directly among the Devourer ships. The battle was chaos, but it was controlled chaos. Human commanders coordinated attacks while alien crews provided the firepower. Ships that would have been enemies 40 years ago fought side by side against a common threat. When the last Devourer ship was destroyed, the silence that followed felt strange after months of constant warfare. Across the galaxy, beings of dozens of different species looked up at their skies and knew they were safe. The new Galactic Council met for the first time 6 months later. The chamber had been rebuilt larger than before, with room for more species and more representatives. Ambassador Chaewon Song, Unisong's daughter, sat in the seat marked Earth and listened as the other members discussed applications from species that had previously been rejected. "Perhaps," suggested Counselor Min Jae-shin of the Ashanti, "we should reconsider what makes a civilization advanced. Raw technology is not enough. Wisdom, courage, and the willingness to help others may be more important." The motion passed unanimously. Outside, the chamber windows, ships from dozens of species moved peacefully through space. Human vessels worked alongside alien craft, exploring new worlds and building new colonies together. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Strength comes not from rejecting those who are different, but from embracing what they can teach you. And sometimes the species you reject today might be the one that saves you tomorrow.